Hi there, Sitecore enthusiasts, and welcome to another episode of Friday Sitecore Best Practices. My name is Vasily Fomichev, and I'm a Sitecore MVP. In this episode, I'd like to talk to you about a few different ways of getting to see the compiled Sitecore configuration. Now, we should already know about the Showconfig.aspx page under the Sitecore admin folder. It's very useful in cases when we need to troubleshoot Sitecore functionality, check on Sitecore configuration to get an idea of the Sitecore setup, or investigate pipelines or general troubleshooting. But what if we can't get to that page? What if there's a problem in Sitecore configuration that's throwing Sitecore completely off, the CMS doesn't come up, so we can't get to the show config page? Well, there are a couple other ways to do that. So here, for the sake of the demo, I added another evil patch file that adds a second Sitecore core index, which of course would throw off Sitecore because you can't have two duplicate indexes. So let's see if we can trace that. So the first tool we can use is my favorite Sitecore instance manager. To view the show config, all you have to do is just highlight the Sitecore instance that's having a problem, go to the Open tab, under the config files, click the drop down and choose show config. Now that will bring your entire compiled config. Well, I like to view it in Notepad, so I'll go ahead and copy paste that there. So let's see if we can find our culprit. Sitecore core index. Okay, so we have one instance being added here. In fact, look at that. Looking at the patch source, we can tell right away that this is likely the one causing the problem. So this one is seems to be coming from the right index. Now this is the second instance that's being added, and it's being added by the zevil patch file, which we can now easily find in our file system. So this is one way of looking at show config. However, there are some environments, especially in delivery, in highly regulated industries, where we cannot install the Sitecore Instance Manager. Requires connection to the SQL server. We might not have the required information. We might not even have rights to install things like that. So a different tool to the rescue, and this is the tool developed by Alan Helen. So this is a Sitecore config builder, so you can find it on the Sitecore marketplace. This one mentions version 1.4, but if you actually go to the download, it's not good. Where did my connection go? Let's see here. Give it a second. Looks like I disconnected from the Wi-Fi. There we go. So if you go to download, and if you click on the link for 1.4, it'll take you to the GitHub page where you'll see the latest version is actually version 1.5. So you can click to download the zip archive, and I already actually have it downloaded on this server here. So once you download and extract the zip archive, you'll have the following folders. Make sure to run this as an admin, so you can add a very handy option to the Windows Explorer context menu. So you can right click on the web config file and bring this up right away instead of having to run the application. So let's do just that. For instance, let's see, let's go to our website folder. So once you've installed it and chosen to add the option, if you right click on a web config file, you will get two options. So disable config file, which is we don't want to do with a web config, but open with Sitecore config builder. So if you choose that, it opens the Sitecore config builder tool. Now there are some settings you can play around with. You can, just like in the sim, you can select to build a normalized config file. Another very handful feature it has is that it can actually download the default show config for a Sitecore revision of your choice here. So it looks like we can go all the way back to 6.5 initial release. So you can easily compare the show config on your instance to the default one for any customizations. But here we go. If we don't select any settings here, if we simply click save, what that does is it asks us for a location do save the show config. I already have one saved, so we'll override it. Yep, replace it, and there we are. Here's our show config, and again, we can easily view it with Notepad++, highlighted syntax. So there you go, a couple of other alternative ways of getting to show config. So if your Sitecore instance is down, there are still 2 different ways of getting to show config and troubleshooting your issue from there. So hopefully you liked this tip, and if you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and for more tips like this, check out sameasbestpractices.com. And I'll see you next Friday. Over and out.